What's up, folks? It's Parallax Abstraction, and welcome back to Indie Showcase. So this is another oddity I have for you. We showed a game last time that was kind of a modern version of an old-school computer platformer, and this is, well, a modernization of Pong. Yeah, you heard me, Pong. This is Galactic Psychic Table Tennis 3000. Yeah, indeed. This kind of came out of nowhere a while ago, and when I got the email about it, I was like, I just got to know what this is about, because, I mean, how do you modernize Pong? So, yeah, this comes to us from a small developer called Blue Wizard Digital. They've done a few different things, it looks like, but, yeah, they said that they had come up with a, Pong with a twist, effectively, and it's freaking cheap, as you can see. It's $2 US on Steam. That's $2.30 Canadian. It's out for PC and Mac. It ain't a big spend, that's to be sure. At the same time, I'm not gonna lie, I don't get it. This game has very positive reviews on Steam. It's actually seems to be fairly well regarded, and nothing wrong with that. But I wanted to show this to you guys because maybe you guys see something in it I don't. I don't know. I really don't. But, all right, let's check this sucker out here and see what we got. I mean, when I looked at the trailer for this thing, it looked like it was going to have a really crazy, like, story to it, and would just go to all kinds of crazy places. And maybe it does, but after well over an hour of playing, it has not yet. So it starts in a little tiny window like this. This is not a game with a fancy options menu. It's just got full screen and not full screen. You just click that, it blows up. Easy peasy, right? So you got new game, continue, and that's basically your only options. So the way this works, so we're going to be starting here with a boss paddle, actually. What they call a boss paddle. Now, you may be looking at this and going, why the hell does my paddle have a disguise on? And two, why does the interface look like Diablo along the bottom? Yeah, exactly. So the way they have made this Pong with a twist is that it's Pong with light RPG elements in it. And fashion. Not even kidding you. Yeah. Beat Aficionado? I don't even know what that achievement is. So, the way this works is you are playing Pong against various different sort of personas, if you will, or other sort of Pong paddles that have different attributes and different characters. Every time you win, you get to pick a stat upgrade, like an RPG.
I've leveled up.
Also, your paddle talks, kind of like Duke Nukem a little bit. So, you see you've got all this here. Endurance +1, you feel like a beefier version of your previous self, just generally. And it tells you a little bit about the next boss you have. You get more. There's a skill you can level up to get more and more detail in this screen.
Let's see what you got.
And, if you press escape...
I feel meditative.
So, you can see here, you've got stats, you've got equipment... you've got beasts. I don't know what those are. I haven't run into those yet. You've also got skills. Notice near the bottom of the skill list, it says 0 of 40 paddles romanced. It's weird. It's real weird. So you can see here that that paddle has a very odd shape, and that is based on his persona. You can also see that this level has trippy beatnik teleporters in it. Yeah. It does. Also, you may see along the bottom there.
Fireball.
Yeah.
Ice paddle.
You have magic, and you have spells, and you have hit points, and so does your enemy. So here's one of the many twists that this has. Like, I'm gonna give it credit, even though I don't entirely get this game. When they said it was Pong with a twist, it's twisty. So... every time you or your opponent hits the ball, you take damage. You can heal that damage, eventually, not at the start. I had to acquire that healing spell. You can also use other spells to put additional attributes on the ball. So this fireball, I can actually turn the ball, I can set the ball on fire to hurt the other paddle when I hit it. I can also just shoot a straight up fireball at the paddle, which does less damage. If the opposing player doesn't have the ice spell to counter the fire, they'll take damage when they hit the paddle. Every time you hit the ball, you take damage, and same with your opponent. If one of you runs out of health, just like that, you die and you disappear.
Fireball.
Now you only disappear until somebody scores, and then you respawn with full health. So, the key with this is that you actually have to manage that a little bit. You actually have to try to manage your hits so that you're not going to leave yourself out of health when the ball might be coming your way. Now, that's gotten easier for me since I have gotten things like the healing spell. But to start off with, it got a little tricky at times. You see there, sometimes things fall from the sky as well that give you additional power-ups. Sometimes healing items fall. This particular guy actually has a lot of magic because he's been using the fireball a lot. Your magic is limited, but you are able to level up how much of it you carry at a time, and it does recharge. Very, very slowly, but again, you can level up how fast it recharges as well. So you see I got him there. Every match I played so far, whether against boss paddles or regular paddles, has been best of 3. And the levels are randomly generated, so unless you die at a boss level, you will get a different opponent and a different level the next time you play it. Sometimes you just have an open arena, but sometimes you'll have things like this. See, I touched that red spot, which is basically lava, and I took damage. In addition, if it counters your spells. So, for example, if you're playing in an arena that has water in it, and you set your ball on fire, if it crosses the water, it's not on fire anymore. Similarly, if it's fire like this, and I use my ice paddle option, that's not going to help. So you have to be mindful of that. Some levels have these hazards crossing the entire height of the arena. Others, it's just a section. So you got to sort of figure out how to hit the ball to bounce it to not get caught in those hazards. So there's a lot to it, right? And when you get to a boss battle, or a boss paddle, as they call it, which is clever. This game has some wit to it, I'll give it that. When you get to that, if you die there, you will have to fight that boss again until you beat it. That's the thing with this. The only penalty for dying is that you lose the match and you go back to the main menu, and you continue. That's literally all there is. You don't lose any form of progression. This isn't a roguelike. You're not starting back at the beginning. If what story there is in this doesn't seem to change very much. I've been playing for over an hour, and as you can see, there's at least 10 different spells here, and I've only unlocked 3 of them. So this can clearly go on for a while, and you see the little writing here when it sort of tallies up what happened at the end of the battle. It's cute.
I've become more powerful.
And Moy Masher crashing down from the heavens to crush everything to smithereens, then back again to the clouds. So you see, they actually put some writing into this, which is kind of cool. And sometimes you'll fight like Al Alcorn, who's one of the original designers of the original Pong back in the day. You'll fight like this beefy, pixelized, paddle-looking representation of him. I thought that was kind of cute. You know, things like that. There doesn't really seem to be much of a story to this. I was really under the impression that this was going to be like some game that utilized Pong, but tried to do one of those things where they tried to like tell a very deep and meaningful story that was based around Pong paddles somehow. You know, you see games that do that sometime, and I always think that's cool when games are able to do something like that, because some of them do that really, really well. So you see there, because a frozen ball hit him, he slowed down for a while. So that's kind of what that does.
Nice try, bruh.
And there we go. So if you open a treasure chest, see, I found new pants.
Okay.
You don't have the ability to cycle through clothing that you picked up. If you pick up a new piece of clothing from a chest, you not only have to take it, so you can't say no to it, but it replaces whatever you wore before. And there's no menu for you to go back and change what your character looks like. Which I'm sure is intentional. Also not really that big a deal, but, you know, when you unlock something and then by pure chance you might lose it later, especially if you manage to create a look you like, that's kind of weird. But yeah, from the way the trailer made this look, it made it look like it was one of these things that had like a kind of a deep and crazy story to it. And from the Steam reviews I glanced at before recording, it doesn't look like that happens. And if it does, then it takes way too long, because I've been playing this for over an hour, and all I've basically been doing here is playing Pong with magic in it. And sure, that's cool. And yes, sure, the game is only $2 and will probably run on a netbook from 10 years ago. But like I said, I don't get it, because this is a game where I don't think it's very compelling. I don't think it's very interesting to me. But it has a community of people who clearly really dig it. You know, even the people in the Steam reviews who are like, yeah, this is just Pong with a twist, but it's a lot of fun. And if you are someone who has fond memories of Pong from back in the day, which many an old school gamer do, because this was, you know, the great granddaddy of video games as a whole. They were like, yeah, if you have a fondness for Pong, it's, you know, it's a lot of fun, and it's only a couple of dollars, and it's kind of a neat way to kill some time. You may very well be looking for that, and if you are, then you may like this. You may very well. You know, when I reach out for press codes or accept press codes that I'm offered for games, I don't cover nearly as many games as I get offered. And that's because I don't want to cover games to crap on them. There are channels who do that. I don't care for that at all. I call this Indie Showcase because I want to show people cool and different games that have potentially flown under the radar of a lot of other people and a lot of other critics. And this is definitely one of those. And you know, it is doing something different, and it's doing it for a very, very reasonable price. And people seem to like it, which is why I prefer to say that I just don't get it. Not that this game is bad, because people don't seem to think it is. And I wouldn't say it was bad. You know, it's got neat mechanics in it. Clearly some thought went into this. The music is very weird, but also kind of cool. So you see, I failed there, and just takes me back here, and then I go here. Now that was a boss paddle, so I'm still fighting it, but as you can still see, the arena has changed. So even that doesn't stay the same. So I'm fighting the same kind of enemy, but even then the environment changes. So I will give it credit that when you have to try stuff again, it's not just making you do literally the same thing over and over again until you get it right. It mixes things up a little bit, and that is a cool thing. Uh-oh. Have I caused a temporal time loop here? I kind of have. Oh dear. Well, I unlocked an ability a while ago that allows me to move anywhere. Oh yeah, that's the other thing. You can unlock an ability that lets you move basically anywhere on the board. And I can even bring my own guy into those portals, which is pretty amusing. You know, it's weird and different, and they did something with Pong that we've never seen before with Pong. And that's cool, and I'm going to give them credit for that. At the same time, it's still Pong. It's still what was effectively an uber rudimentary table tennis game from the 70s. And I think they priced this appropriately at $2. I think if they tried to do this at like $10 or even $5, they probably would have been a little bit off their rocker. And I think a lot of the people who have bought this and who have been saying in Steam reviews, hey, this is really cool because it's like Pong, but with a twist, I think are people that they probably got in by virtue of the fact that it's $2. Because even if Steam didn't have its refund policy, which they do, this is cheap enough. This isn't even cheap enough to be an impulse buy. This is cheap enough to just be an idle curiosity purchase. You know. Uh-oh, I got it caught again here. Come here, you. There we go. This game is cheap enough to just be like an idle curiosity. Like, what's $2, right? Even if you don't like it, you'd be like, meh, you know, whatever. And that's very much the case here. So people seem to dig it, and that's cool. and I wanted to show it to you because you might very well too. For me, and there are some achievements in this game as well that are actually fairly devilish to get. In the hour and some I played this, I've only gotten 2 of them. See, this arena now has mines in it. You know, it mixes things up. But even though they've added a lot to Pong in this, I was hoping for more, especially by the trailer, which, to be honest with you, is the reason why I requested the press code for this, is because the trailer really made it look like this was going to have some crazy story, and that these Pong paddles were going to be characters. Like, and they are characters, kind of, in that they have traits and stats to them, but I really thought they were going to be characters with actual stories and maybe dialogue, and like some of these other paddles, when you came up to them, were going to actually talk to you, and there might even be like dialogue choices and like a Pong RPG almost. That I was like, that, you know what? That sounds really cool. Oh, look at this. Hydro Traverse, fearlessly walk on water.
More power.
Neat. And I was like, that would be, you know, that would be kind of a cool idea, and I kind of like that. Really, there is no characters to these things. Really, all it is just Pong with magic. And that may be enough for you. I don't know. It isn't for me. At the same time, if I hadn't gotten press code for this, but it instead spent the $2 to get it on Steam, and I had the same opinion of it, I wouldn't even bother refunding it. I'd just be like, you know what? This is cool enough that maybe once in a while I'll just be like super bored and just be like, play this for a couple of minutes and be like, haha, look, my guy, you know, my Pong guy kind of looks a little bit like a hippie, isn't that cute? You know, something like that. Is probably might be what I would have done. But other than that, when you have such a stupid backlog as I do, it doesn't really make a lot of sense. So yeah. But yeah, that is Galactic Psychic Table Tennis 3000, developed by Blue Wizard Digital. It is on Steam for the PC and Mac for the crazy, unbelievably expensive price of $2 US. If you like Pong, or you want to see what people can do with Pong, give it a look. A lot of people seem to like it. Look at this. There's 50 Steam reviews, which for a game like this is not bad, with 94% being positive. Clearly, these guys get something I don't, and you may very well too. So, thank you very much for watching, everybody. If you did like what you saw here, please consider subscribing to the channel and click that bell icon to make sure you get notifications on future videos. Drop a like on this one, and, you know, leave me a comment on this. Does this look more compelling to you than it did to me? Are you one of the people that's played this? And if so, what do you think makes it so cool? Because I would really like to know. I'm clearly missing something here, and I would love to know what people think that makes this so cool. But, you know, it's neat that this exists, and again, you can't beat the price, right? Thank you guys very much for watching, and I will see you next time for the next episode of Indie Showcase. You guys have yourselves a good one. Take it easy.